What up? What up? What up, New York Giant Nation? This your boy Mac the Giants fan, and I'm with my guys, the Horsemen, Zion Zenith, Adam Costas, and of course the one and only NYG Jeffy T, always looking down from above, shining that bright ever so brightly. This is the Premium Takes Podcast. Let's go.
Yo, 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 what is going on? NFL Nation, Giants Nation, Big Blue Crew Nation, everybody that's tuning in on a lovely Friday afternoon. What's up, Miz? Thank you so much for being here. Like the thumbnail says, guys, this is going to be a special where we mostly cover free agency. We're going to talk everything from, who just came into the building, on who's going to leave the building, who do we want to see brought into the building, and just an open discussion about free agency in general. Before we do that, we have just a couple of topics to get out of the way. A major thing just happened in sports earlier today. Well, I wouldn't say that major, but if you are a boxing fan, if you're a combat sports fan, we just had a big fight over in Saudi Arabia in Francis Ngannou versus AJ Anthony Joshua, and boy, was it a good one. I literally got up at kind of early, thinking that it was going to be early, but first time in a long time that boxing went all fucking day. It was, did we make it a minute? Okay, we made it a minute. Perfect. Thank you. I didn't want to swear before that minute mark. You know how YouTube be. But that being said, it was I waited all day for this event basically to for it to end kind of abruptly. Like honestly, I have to give respect for Anthony Joshua. For those of you who don't know, he did Nagano pretty good. He did him knocked him out in the second. He had two knockdowns in the first. Just basically outboxed him, and it really looked. What's up, Bills? What's up? Thanks for being here, my friend. It really looked like he is deservedly so some of the cream of the crop when it comes to boxing heavyweights, man. Um, it just shows you that honestly, we never seen Tyson. Oh, sorry, not Tyson. We never seen Francis Ngannou in that kind of situation where he is hurt, and Anthony Joshua really took it to him, man. And it wasn't even like it was. It almost was like Ngannou was kind of in the first round. It was like he wasn't too worried about Anthony Joshua, and then he got clipped, and then the whole fight changed. It looked like Nagano was actually doing good. He was more comfortable in there. It looked a little bit better than he was against Tyson Fury. And then all of a sudden, Will said it right there. Joshua's back. All of a sudden, boom, he knocks him down. The whole fight changes, right? Then it starts the second. He knocks him down again, and then he lands a huge overhand, right? Put his lights out. Put his lights out in the second, and boy, can we just say Tyson Fury and that other guy, that other Russian dude, whatever he is, 21 to know. I'm sorry, I don't watch boxing, guys. They're gonna fight. They have a rematch in October, and the winner of that's gonna get Joshua. And I just think that that's gonna be a fun one. I think his name is Uzluk. I could be slaughtering that, but Uzluk and Tyson Fury is gonna fight. But damn, I know my man Mac is a combat sports fan, so I don't know if he was able to catch this fight, but I'm gonna ask him what's his thoughts about his fights, and then he's gonna want to say a few words on AEW's Revolution. But the floor is yours,
Wait,
Mac.
wait.
Let's get it.
Are we gonna say something about Mike
And
Tyson?
I didn't.
If you want to say about something about Mike Tyson fighting that kid, what is his name? Paul. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Honestly, Jake. Shout out to Jake. But honestly, if you want to talk about it, I just think that. Why are you calling out Tyson? Why are you calling out Mike, bro? He's 58, dog. Come on, bro.
Oh
Go fight
man,
someone
my,
your
my, my
age,
money's on
bro.
Tyson, man. I'm sorry, that guy's
He
crazy.
still got it. He still got it at 58. But yeah, if you want to touch on that right after Mac, you go ahead, Adam. But yeah, let's get it. Go ahead, Mac. Good one.
Yeah, I didn't see the fight working all day, but yeah, like Wells just said it best down there in the comments. It's kind of setting up now. We got Joshua setting up Joshua Fury. That's like the fight now that we need to see. That needs to make that happen. It's really all I got. I didn't get to see the fight, so I can't really comment on it. But yeah, on Sunday night, last Sunday night, one of the great careers in anything,
Tudo.
man, any line
Yo.
of work, honestly came to an end. What's going on, Tudo? Came to an end Sunday night, man. One of the great career that spanned over the course of 4 different decades, man. This man nearly put in years in the ring, man. Sting an absolute icon. One with a bang Sunday night, man, on AEW Revolution, his retirement match. Went into the matches, the AEW, one had AEW Tag Team Champions, came out the match the same way, man. It was an absolute banger match. He pulled no punches. He held nothing back for his final match, man. Had Ric Flair, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, right at ringside, man, on hand, Lex Luger out in the crowd. It just absolute amazing, spectacle right there. Thing was, like I said, people can have their opinions about professional wrestling, however they feel about it. This man's done this since like about around 86, 87, I believe, when his career began. And that's a hell of a run. And to go all the way to 2024 and go strong. Not like I said, not just some older guy in the ring kind of plodding around. This man was in there still taking the same bumps the little 20-year-old fresh faces were taking. This man went through a pane of glass during the course of this match on Sunday night at the age of 60, whatever, however old he is. I mean, this was it was a great match. It was a great way to go out. He went out on top. He went out on his own terms. And I just wanted to say congratulations to Sting, man, because it's been a great career. Me as a wrestling fan, I watched his whole entire career since I was a child, and it's been a pleasure for me, and I really appreciate it. I want to say thank you to the 16 in the chat too. Also, appreciate y'all coming through, spending time with the Horsemen on this Friday night.
Absolutely. Adam, I know you're a wrestling fan. Before we move on to free agency, main topic, open discussion, and chat. It's open discussion, so please tune in, chat as well. What you guys want to see in free agency when we get there? What's up, Daniel? Thank you so much. Happy Friday for you as well. Thank you so much for being here. Adam, I know you're a big wrestling fan. Any thoughts on Sting's retirement? I just want to say real fast, man, for the guy still wrestling at that age, I remember him back when I was like a little kid, a little man just trying to figure out what is this. John Cena. This is before John Cena days too. This is like when I was a fan of big time WWE, watching John Cena, and I go and I watch documentaries about this character named Sting and what he did in TNA after that. And WWF, I believe it was, and then when he moved on to TNA, and then he moved on to AEW, and amazing career. I just have to say, shout out to Sting, and I'm gonna let Adam say kind words about him too.
I didn't get to see the match, but he's an icon of icons, the immortal of the immortal. I wish I got that Undertaker Sting match. That would have been my dream to have seen that. Never say never, but they're getting a little old now. But that guy is great, and he personifies wrestling. He will be up there. He should be on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. What he did with his character for years to do it at that high of a level and still perform. That's the thing. You're 65 and you're still performing at a high level. That's what you call perfection. That's what you call greatness. That's what you call immortalizing yourself. And Sting deserves that. Salute to you, my friend. You'll never be forgotten. You're a legend. You will be missed. And there's guys I'm thinking about now, like what he could have fought if they didn't book him in properly at the WWE. He was a company man, almost like the Undertaker to a fault. And he just went down with the company, did not care, did not jump ship, and I got to give him credit for that. He could have easily did that. He stuck with his guns and rode the thing out, and there he is. And one of wrestling's icons. So Sting, thank you, congratulations, and you will be immortalized amongst wrestling fans like myself.
Well said, Adam. All right, guys, we're going to move on to our main topic. I know for all of you MMA fans, for all you UFC fans, I do the Combat Club with Raphael on Tuesdays nights. What's up, No Pets? Thank you for being here, No Mets. Perfect timing. We're not going to preview 299. We did that. If you guys want more coverage on 299, go check out the Combat Club on Tuesday nights and episode 4
No Mets, how are you?
On the channel. That being said, guys, this is how we're going to go. We're going to look over the teams, who they kept. I'm kind of just run down the list real fast. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have an open discussion about the Giants, about 3 players in particular, Barkley, Adoree Jackson, and Xavier McKinley. We're going to see where we want them to see, what teams you guys want them to go to. If not, if you guys wanted to keep them. That being said, then we're going to talk about, a certain quarterback that paid a visit to our facility. And then we'll move on to open discussion about free agency.
Can I talk about that right now? I want to talk about that
Yeah.
right now.
Oh, you want to start
All
with
right,
that? Let's start
I'm
with that.
sorry.
Go right
I want
ahead.
to talk about that right now.
Go
Don't
right
bury
ahead.
the lead.
Let's start with that.
Look, this Russell Wilson thing, New York Giant as fans, this Russell Wilson thing, like, look, forget about it, man. Forget about it, man. This is exactly the problem with the New York Giants over the course of the last 10 plus years, man. You have to rebuild properly. You cannot keep trying to patch things up. You can't just keep trying to put band aids on things. You have to rebuild the right way. Get your guy in there, build this team around your guy. Not a 1 year mercenary coming in here to salvage what of his career to prove to the world that he still is a top level quarterback. We don't need that. This team doesn't need that. This team needs, you need to get your guy, the guy that's going to be here for the future, for long term potential success in the future. Not a guy that's just going to come in looking to rebuild his own personal career for the last few years that he has left in his career. We don't need that. I don't want to hear any Russell Wilson talk. That's not a problem. That's not where the New York Giants need to go. New York Giants have so many problems with this team. You don't need kind of distraction coming in here. You don't need any of that crap. It's just been nonsense listening to people act like, oh yeah, we can get Russell Wilson for a year. Oh yeah, okay. We don't need a run quarterback for a year. We need to get our guy. Focus on getting our guy. And there's plenty of them out there. Plenty of good prospects out there. Make it happen. Stop trying to put a band on shit. That is exactly what the problem has been. We have not gone into a proper rebuild. We just keep trying to patch things up. It's like an old leaky tire. You can only patch it so many times before it's just going to finally completely explode. That's what this team has done. Stop trying to do the same nonsense. That's all I got to say about it, man. Just forget about the Russell Wilson thing, man. Forget about
Well,
it.
I
Go
will
right ahead,
play.
Adam. Absolutely love that. But
I'll play
what
the
Adam
op-
has to say.
I'll play the opposite here. Okay,
Okay.
I don't really care who comes in. He's a free agent quarterback. His number is not going to be high. He's going to play for the vet minimum. If you want to sign Russell Wilson and then draft your quarterback at 6 and make him the bridge so you have a guy to sit behind and Russell Wilson can resurrect his career, because it's house money at that point. If he does well, you know you're not going to pay him and you already got your guy behind you. If he does poorly, you don't need to worry because you got the guy behind him already. So if you want to do that, so you don't have to worry about even having Daniel Jones sniff the field, I'm down with that. What I'm not down with is you picking that guy up at Russell Wilson, then drafting Malik Neighbors at 6, and then away you go. That's not what I will not happen. Or pick a quarterback later on in the draft. No, I understand why you would pick up Russell Wilson right now. He has tiny ass contract. So if you want to bring him in here to be your bridge and say, fuck it, Daniel's never going to see the field again, then you could bring in your rookie and groom him and make, let's say it's Drake May, because I like Drake May. Let's say Drake May comes in here, right? He can sit and learn behind Russell Wilson. That's the only way I would want this to work. Other than that, I don't want to see him here. I know what he would be. I know what he did. But to just put it in perspective, if that's how you want to go about it, because he's not going to cost you a damn dime, except vet minimum, which that's like $1.5 million or some shit, because he's getting paid by Denver, and you want to make him your bridge quarterback and say, listen, we're still going to pick a quarterback at some point. Now, I don't think Russell Wilson's going to want to do that, to be honest with you. I don't think he's going to want to come in here to keep the seat warm for either Daniel Jones or rookie. I don't think he's going to want to do that. I think he's going to want to have an opportunity to actually start and resurrect his career, So if the Giants tell him, yeah, you'll start the whole season, fine. And you get that guarantee in writing or something like that, fine. Then maybe you come here. But he's not, if he comes here and there's no, and I don't want no Spencer Rattler, no motherfucking Joe Milton. Right, you get fucking Russell Wilson, and then you draft McCarthy, May, or Penix Jr. just to keep the seat warm and build your fucking team around him. If that's what you want to do, that's the only way I'm gonna allow this to happen. If not, kick rocks, take you, Sierra, to Pittsburgh, and get on. Right, that's it. That's the only way I'm entertaining it. Those are just I'm with Mac on many of the things that Mac said. I don't disagree. I don't want this to be like, hey, let me fucking sign Russell Wilson and we're done. We're done at the quarterback position. No. And I don't want you to be like, here's Russell Wilson. Oh, by the way, we drafted Joe Milton in the 6th round. Enjoy. No, motherfuckers. We see through the fucking facade. If you're already, what it says to me is, to be real, is that you're done with Daniel Jones. If you're even entertaining the thought of bringing in a guy like Russell Wilson to come in here because you know what's going to happen in the speculation. For all we know, he could have had a cup of coffee with Joe Shane and high-fived him and walked out the building. But, the media is going to take it any which way and say, oh, the media. So you've already brought that hoopla on you. You already brought the speculation on you. Guess what? I hate to tell people out there, regardless if Daniel Jones starts or not, his era and days are over here. It's done. And they're showing you right now blatantly what they're doing. Russell Wilson's not a big fish. But the fact that you're entertaining that guy coming in here and you know what he would bring, he's instant starter. If he comes in here, he's an instantaneous starter, no matter what, right off the bat. You can't tell me that he's not. He's going to put his ring on the table and say, get the fuck out the way. All right? Let a real quarterback handle this situation.
Real facts. That's all facts what you guys just said. And Giants brass care about selling tickets. Absolutely, that's a good point. And I actually just said that on the phone against Adam. With Adam,
yes,
the other day.
If I told that, I said if they, the problem with the Giants right now, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Zion. Just elaborate that point that we were talking about is the Giants right now have one of the highest attendance rates in the league. So the shit product that they're putting out there, you're still going to see. If you want to make a difference, either put bags in your head or sell your tickets to the opponents or don't show up at all. Because that's the only way if you're going to make a difference. Now, I think they're going to be a different team this year. I'm getting that vibe. When we get to free agency, I'll tell you why my thoughts are that way. But to just be real and to answer something that Tudo said that actually we happen to manifest in a conversation is that the Giants know right now the product stinks. But they're still feeding it to you. They didn't get those same numbers about attendance. And the fact that we're loyal to a fault because we're Giant fans to come and see this shit show knows that we'll slog through it. But they also know that we will turn on them very quickly. And they're teetering on the brink right now. And if they don't do the right things, they could easily lose a population of fan base that's going to be hard to come back. Especially when you are losing, right? 10 years is a long time. That's your kid's 5.
Last time we won the division, we went to the Super Bowl.
Right. But I mean, I just want to be a constant playoff contender, be able to, be that. But my point is that the Giants, let's hope the Giants start to figure things out because we deserve it as a fan base. We go to these games, we go to them in the rain. In rainstorms, Mac and I know we were there in the middle of a monsoon, okay, up to our friggin' ankles in water to cheer on a team that barely scored any points that day against a crappy Jet team. That's how loyal this fan base is. It's time to give us some hope.
That's good points. And this fan base and this team as a whole, well, I believe I said this last episode too. Well, in all of sports, including football, soccer, aka soccer in America, including cricket, rugby, space, everything, right? Look how big baseball is in Japan, including that too. We're the 6th highest, most valuable franchise, right? I know our division opponent is at number 1 with the Cowboys, but that tells you something, right? That tells you something right there that we are valuable as a franchise. But when it comes down to Russell Wilson, getting back on that, I do want to say this. Me and Adam talked about this on the phone too. I wouldn't be surprised, Adam, if Sierra gets into his ear and she says New York because of entertainment, because of her career, because of you know what I'm saying? And then now we have boom. He comes visits the Giants. I want to say this though. I agree with both of you guys. I don't want him here. First off, I mean, he's gonna have a good season, and then what? It's I get it. Denver's paying his contract this year, so you can rent him for basically free. But that's a year where I believe that I don't want to rent a quarterback. Like Max said, I want to bring in our quarterback. I want Brian Dable, the guy who basically inherited quarterbacks over and over again. I want him to get his. And Adam brought up a good point. What this tells me that Daniel Jones, your reign has come to the end. DJ, your reign is done. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry if you have Denver paying Russell Wilson $39 million, not even going to be on the team. If you have all these other teams, look at what New England is thinking about doing. Look what Atlanta's thinking about doing. Look what those quarterbacks didn't have enough time as long as Daniel Jones had. You know what I'm saying? We have all these other teams moving around their quarterbacks if they think, look, Justin Fields is up to debate because a new shining star, a new Corvette, and Caleb Williams is on the market, right? So now Justin Fields don't even have a chance. Like, right? It wasn't like Justin Fields inherited a good team. It wasn't like the Bears surrounded Justin Fields with a good roster. But what they're going to do, they're going to grab Caleb Williams. They're going to trade Justin Fields. They're going to grab probably a receiver at 9. They're going to build a team. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears are actually the Texans next season and fighting for a wild card spot in this week NFC. And what does that tell you? It tells you that Russell Wilson, to wrap it up, Russell Wilson's probably going to demand like $50 million. And the whole point I want a quarterback in this draft is to reset that market. He touches the ball every single snap. We can't be paying our quarterbacks $50 million and expecting to win. Patrick Mahomes is special. All these quarterbacks is making a lot of money. They're special. You know what I'm saying? Let's find our special guy, and we get him for a good 5 years. We'll get him on a discount before we have to pay him $65 billion. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want. I don't want a brand quarterback, and then Russell Wilson's going to demand $50 million next year, and then what? You know, so without further ado, let's look at free agency. Let's see who signed back to the old team, and let's see who didn't. Now, if you look at Buffalo Bills, they're going to lose a lot of key pieces on defense, but I think they're taking the Bill Belichick approach, where they're going to let all the old heads walk early. I believe you have people like Hyde and like Poyer that still has a lot of football left, but then if you think about it, there's a lot of injuries there, right? So when you think about it, they go get a backup quarterback, you know, and then they sign a couple of pieces, you know, no one too big. We look at Miami; they're basically fucking broke. You know what I'm saying? They got no money too. They can't re-sign all these people. So what do? They re-sign Jonnu Smith. All right, you look in New England. You know, this is what they do. I'm not going to read it. We're just going to go down the list. If you guys want me to stop. New York Jets didn't really do anything. They're waiting for Aaron Rodgers to heal up and face the Chiefs in the championship game. That's their plans. We got Baltimore Ravens.
Well, they asked about Justin Mataduke. I think someone asked about him getting his money.
Let's touch on this. Go ahead, Adam.
And I think he deserved it. He played very well last season, led their defense, was a wrecking ball in the middle, and really is the reason why Patrick McQueen and Roquan Smith got to eat. And I think you're paying that guy, you know, I mean, is he – we talk about top D linemen in the league. He's up there, you know, and when you can rush the passer as well as stop the run, you know, you become a valuable asset to a team, and he can do both. He collapses pockets. I mean, he had 13 sacks last year. That gets you paid. I'm sorry. That just does, okay? And the fact that he was a third-round pick, the fact that he was a disruptor, that he had 13 sacks, you're going to start to see D tackles start to grow. Because I hate to say this, gone are the days of, you know, the Sam Adams, the Tony Saragusas, you know, the Gilbert Adams are of those worlds, those big guys in the middle. Gilbert Brown, yes, excuse me, you know what I'm talking about, big old guy in Green Bay, right? Where there's just going to be a plugger. Norman Hand is one of them. Like, you know, we had that type of guy. You need to be a pass rusher, and that's why Dexter Lawrence got the deal he did. But he's not making that money.
We have the best one. We have the best one.
He's not. But he's not going to make the upper echelon money because he doesn't get the sack numbers, and that's what people look at. Like Leonard Williams is a prime example of what we talk about, right? Conversions to sacks. If he converted the amount of pressures that he got to sacks, he would be able to. If he got 10 sacks a year, guess what? He got paid a lot of money, but he get paid more money right now because the league looks at sacks. That's what puts you in the Hall of Fame. That's what gets you Defensive Player of the Year awards. That's what people look at. And he had a fucking phenomenal year. And you want to keep the guys that got you there. So, and it's interesting that signed Nelson Aguilar. I guess that's a little cheaper than Odell Beckham Jr.
Absolutely.
I don't think they're going to sign Odell Beckham Jr. back with Nelson Aguilar, especially now that they had the Zay Flowers kid kind of develop into and come out into his own. They have Rashad Bateman still there playing well, and then you have Aguilar as the third receiver plus Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. You have a lot of weapons out there. Somebody had to go. Somebody can stay. Nelson Aguilar, not too bad. So I just wanted to touch on that.
Absolutely. Good touching. We got T. Higgins signing for the pause. Good take. We got
Thank you.
We got T. Higgins. Absolutely. I think this is a good fit for the Bengals, a good signing for the Bengals. I get it. They have Chase on roster, but you have to understand that Chase is still on his rookie contract, so they're allowed to do that. I think if Chase wasn't on their rookie contract, they're going to choose Chase over T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins is a better receiver than Boyd. You see them let go Boyd. You see them keep T. Higgins. Joe Burrow is fucking happy. All right, we got Cleveland Browns. They didn't take anybody. Pittsburgh Steelers got. He's going to be active. We'll see what they'll do at the quarterback situation. We touch on that in a second. Houston Texans, Kaimi. Shout out to Hawaii, my man Kaimi in the house. Get your money, let's get it. Got Dalton Schultz, a notable tight end. We know him. He's pretty good. We got Michael Pittman, absolutely stud. Good thing. I mean, like you look at that, they got AR-15. He's gonna need a number one receiver. What is his number one receiver? Pittman. They have to keep Pittman. Let's see a comment real fast. We got Jake Tyson. You want to touch on Tyson? You want to touch on that, Matt? Adam, go ahead.
I just think it's going to be fun. I don't think you should poke the bear. Mike Tyson's one of those guys that I don't care what age he's at. I am not making him angry. You don't know what gets into that guy's head, and you think that guy is going to try to go down easy with Jake Paul. I don't think so. Listen,
still got it at his age.
I'll lose money on Tyson any day of the week, 7 days and twice on Sundays. Like that's how confident I am. A guy who's been boxing his whole life to a guy who has been boxing. And we're talking about Mike Tyson being the best in the world, okay, at a time where being the best in the world actually meant something.
When boxing was actually good. So,
now, Jake Paul, I don't know his record or I don't know how many accolades. I'm not familiar with him. But
we washed up MMA fighters and guys that don't even have a name and guys that didn't train and work on oil rigs.
Okay, so basically he's fighting soft fighters, people that aren't technicians. Mike Tyson's going to eat you alive, okay?
He fought an up-and-coming Fury. I mean, like, obviously, the legacy in that Fury last name, and Fury beat him, and Fury showed him how to box. And basically, he's an amateur, too, though. Like, Fury doesn't have that much fights under his belt, but go ahead.
Listen, Mike Tyson, look. Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson. He got a tattoo on his face, okay? The guy,
you gotta admit too. I know we're getting down the wrong rabbit hole, Adam, too. But you gotta admit too, that guy was basically hypnocized to box. You watched his documentaries and what he had to go through.
The guy bites an ear off in the main event of a fight. Okay, they call him the baddest man on the planet for a reason. He's been in and out of the boxing ring and still knows that you can go. Listen, Jake, I'm sorry, bro. I do not care, about it. And listen, just because he's not in good shape doesn't mean he doesn't know how to take a punch or learn how to duck and dodge. Okay, we're talking about Mike Tyson, who can knock you out in one shoot. All he needs is one punch, and if that one connects, that's it. So
lovely. I do love that statement, though. 30 years is a big difference.
Listen,
all right, let's get it, though. You want to touch on that a little bit more?
Listen, real quick. It's Mike Tyson, okay? Terrell Owens running 4.3s at 45 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mike Tyson is going to get there. You don't think he's going to prepare for this fight? I don't know if Mike wants to say anything about it, but I just think Tyson, man.
Not really. I mean, it's Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Not really. I don't really have much to say about it.
We got Josh Allen receiving the non-exclusive fast track. Hey, Chuck.
Well, then it's going to be bad for Jake Paul when he gets his ass kicked by a 58-year-old. So
yeah, facts. Tennessee Titans go and sign Cox.
I want to go back up to Ezra Cleveland.
Okay,
quick.
all right. Let's touch on that.
I think Ezra Cleveland is basically the deal you're looking for if you're the Giants. That type of guard play. He's the type of guard that came in last year, didn't really have much of a contract. Goes in, prepares well, has a solid season, and is getting paid now. And of course, a few other guards get taken off the market. I think this is the kind of deal we're going to be looking at. The Giants need to sign a couple of these deals for some linemen. Ezra Cleveland is one that people talked about. I'm sure there's another one we're going to get to once we go through the teams and what they list. I have a couple of linemen I think I want them to grab as well. As a receiver, I'm intrigued by. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on possibly bringing him in. And then, obviously we'll talk about a few other guys here. But Ezra Cleveland, I think that's kind of the deal that we're going to be looking for and the kind of player that you want. 26 years old, 28 years old, can be here for a long time, can be here to block for your quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Your young, up and coming quarterback. So think about that when you're shopping.
Absolutely. Oh, righty. We have the Denver Broncos getting rid of a lot of pieces, but not bringing back anybody. As you see, this is a tricky one too. We got Chiefs. Obviously, what a stud right at the cornerback position. But a lot of people think that they were going to trade him. They're looking to get a second round pick, because if they was to let him go, they would have only got a third round comp. But we'll see what happens. I think they're going to spend their money on Jones. I think Jones will be back. I think they're negotiating in contracts right now. But who knows if a team comes out, and we'll speak on that later on in free agency. Don't want to touch too much on the Super Bowl champions, but we're giving them time, guys, because they're back to back, so they deserve this time. Respect to the Kansas City Chiefs. We got the Raiders. This is some team that wants to probably go after Jones, try to steal them away from the division rival. We'll see what happens with them. The Chargers, it's going to be a fun watch for them, right? Being that they got Jim, being that this is a whole new regime, bringing that he's going to hire. He's already hiring his coaches, and we'll see what happens with the Chargers later on. Dallas Cowboys, boo. Giants, Eagles. Touch on them in a bit. Touch on them basically the whole show. Let's get it. Eagles. I can't really afford to pay anybody. Zach Ertz for Washington Commanders. Looking at the Norths, nobody. Jaden Johnson gets paid for a year, $76 million. That's nice. Looking on to the Rams. Packers not doing anything, and then the Vikings. We got the Falcons. Brian Burns, this is a big one too. Respectively, deserves every single penny of that. And hopefully maybe they can get a long-term deal done. I think if he was maybe playing for the New York Giants, maybe the Los Angeles Rams, a big market team, Brian Burns would be talked about more. The fact that he's playing for the Carolina Panthers, he's not talked about as much, but who knows? Maybe Bryce Young will have an amazing season, and maybe the Carolina Panthers in a couple of years will be that team where all eyes are on them. Kind of like what Cam Newton did. We got Tyrann Mathieu still getting paid. Shout out to Tyrann Mathieu, bro. This guy been in the NFL forever, bro. Uncle Tyron getting his money. Let's get it. Mike Evans, too. I want to touch on this. Deservedly so. That's the demand now for these stud wide receivers. You know what I'm saying? $26 million a year, $52 million over the span of 2 years. You know, we got a guy named Justin Jefferson that's probably going to demand over 30. So, man, the NFL is getting crazy with these money, right?
Mike Evans, wow, I love it. I love he's getting paid.
Absolutely. Marcus Warburson getting his little money, but not little. I mean, like $5 million a lot, but you know what I'm saying? You know, Kevin Dotson,
hold on right there. That's the guy. He's a guy I was interested in as well. Again, another type of contract that you're going to see for these guards that are at the top of the market, and we'll get into some of those guards at the top in a little bit. But I just wanted to let people know, you know, that's where you're going to be looking for. Oh, and they got DeMarcus Robinson re-signed. I wanted him if he was going to come available, but I guess he did not. So,
absolutely. Alrighty, and that's about it, guys. Now I will say this, guys. This free agency is just I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm interested in it because of our position at quarterback, and I don't know what it is, but I just believe that this free agency, looking at prior to years past, a lot of people let a lot of offensive linemen go and a lot of good players are on the market. And you may be like, yeah, but you know, some of these defensive players are old, but at the end of the day, they still got it. I believe if you look at a lot of players, this free agency, like it's a night and day difference from last year. And I honestly believe that the New York Football Giants are going to spend pretty heavily in free agency, but it all starts with our own. So let's just start with Saquon Barkley, guys. No graphics for this one. Just going to talk about Barkley for a bit. We all probably touched on him too much, talked about him too much. The question is, though, where do you think he's going to land? And I'm probably going to start it off, guys. At first, I wanted to say the Los Angeles Chargers because Jim was being so aggressive in his talks about him on podcasts. But then the more I thought about it, I'm going to say a good fit for Barkley, I honestly feel, would be the Houston Texans. You got a young quarterback. You got a great coach that came from San Francisco that utilizes the run. You got a underrated offensive line that with good coaching can become pretty mediocre and pretty good and block way better than our offensive line did for him. outside of Andrew Thomas, because Andrew Thomas is good. But that being said, though, I think Houston and that whole regime that they're building in that culture, I think that's a bomb fit. And hopefully he gets his money. Now, for instance, there is rumors I want to take my time to touch on. A lot of people was talking about like us trying to negotiate with Barkley and bring him in. And if we don't bring in Barkley, we're gonna try to get Josh Jacobs and stuff like that. Honestly, guys, like if you don't pay Barkley, don't
What
pay
will
a
be the
running back.
difference? What will be the difference in that?
Don't, yeah,
What will make?
yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry,
Thank you.
but
Yeah,
why would that make sense? If
thank
if,
you.
if you're going to bring a guy like Josh Jacobs in, you already
Thank
have
you.
Saquon Barkley here. So what the
Yeah,
hell? That would be like. It's just
That's dumb.
ridiculous to
no
me.
point.
That to
Yeah,
me
so
is asinine.
Well,
yeah.
that's a rumor I think is drummed up by his agent because obviously, like a running back needy team,
Grenades, you know what I'm saying?
right?
I
Just
love that.
trying to bring up the negotiations. Oh, the Giants. But if you are living under a rock, you understand that would be a step.
Absolutely. So I would say Texans. Now I'm going to pass it over to Mac. We'll touch on Barkley. What do you think a good fit for Barkley is?
I mean, you already said one of the big ones, Houston Texans. I think is a great fit. But I think you got teams I mean, if Baltimore wanted to go in that direction. Go after a guy like Saquon Barkley helps. Just kind of give them a little extra stability in their backfield. I mean, I know they do pretty well with their committee, but you can have a little more stability with a guy like Barkley back there. J.K. Dobbins has had serious, major knee injury issues his career, unfortunately. So you just don't know how much you can truly depend on that young man. Uh, and as another couple of good fits that nobody's going to want to hear me say, but it's the reality of the situation, and that's right now our own division. The Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles would both be great fits for Saquon Barkley as well. I mean, I know as a Giants
Curse
fan, I don't
you.
want to have to put either one of those
Let's speak
uniforms
into
on, but it's
existence.
a reality. It is a reality that could happen, and I mean, they both would be great fits. I mean, two teams that I think could use. Well, I mean, Eagles is not as much, but the Eagles just know how to use those running backs the right way. And then the Dallas Cowboys, they proved this year with Tony Pollard that he's not a bell cow. I'm not saying, throw him out like the garbage, but he proved not to be that guy that they can depend on to be that bell cow. He much better in the role that he was with the team when Zeke Elliott was there. As that changed the pace back for them, and they got a guy like Barkley in there that could just once again, like I said, just add major stability to the backfield and establish a proven guy, a guy that's never even had an opportunity to run behind a good off line in his career. So you just really never know what you're going to get from that perspective. Somebody may not be as explosive as he once was his first couple of years of his career, but at the end of the day, you know what you're getting in Saquon Barkley 100%, no matter who gets him. And it's an interesting free agent class of running backs. Period. We're talking about Saquon Barkley here, but you got Derrick Henry out here. You got Derrick Henry out there. You got, I mean, like you just said, Josh Jacobs. This is a great
I like
good class of
DeAndre
running
Swift.
backs.
That's who I
And
like.
and now
Swift.
and now it's time to see. It's time to see what these guys, what this market is going to be like for these running backs. I mean, we already know how the league seems to view running backs, and they don't get paid, man. So we're going to see because there's a lot of big name ones out there, and they're going to demand a little bit of respect with the contracts that they receive. So
And I think they'll get
interesting to
some
see
of them will get them.
how this does play out.
Who's gonna be that
I'm
team
thinking
that
I'm
breaks
curious.
it, right?
I,
Who's gonna
I,
be that team that gives them that $13 million a year? Right?
well, it's going to be one, and it's probably going to be like Max said. He said some good ones. It'd be interesting to see him on the Cowboys because with a good line, would that make them the over-the-top team that they'd have a dynamic run game now where a guy could take them over the top and you take less off of Dak's plate in terms of having the pressure on him because he'd have a stud wide receiver, a decent tight end, stud running back, and a quarterback that can spray the ball across the field. That'd be interesting. The Eagles would also be interesting because then they can get back to their run game where it was 5 yards in a cloud of dust, and then Jalen Hurts was at his best because you didn't know if he had an RPO. You run an RPO with Saquon Barkley and Hurts in the backfield. You're talking about nightmares for the defense. Might kind of change up your thinking on and methodology. So that might be something they want to think about if they want Jalen Hurts to succeed. I think Jalen Hurts is one of the best option quarterbacks we've seen. I think that's where he thrives, is where he can run the RPO and run it effectively, but he needs a strong backfield in order to do it. And that Saquon Barkley would do that. My dark horse team, I know it's probably an odd one, but is the Cleveland Browns. They're in the market for a running back. They lost their running back last year. I know that he's going to come back, but he had a horrific knee injury. You could probably bring Barkley in and have a competition and still be you could see that they needed a dynamic back in that game to help them out a lot. And I think Barkley could be that back for them that kind of puts them over the top. They don't have many weapons. They don't have a lot of weapons, but they do have some weapons. Is that the annual salary they're thinking that's going to go for Barkley?
That's what the average, what they're thinking.
Obviously, so almost $10 million.
Stood in that bidding war, right? Stood in that bidding war at 9.9, 10 million, yes.
Okay, so the Giants aren't paying him that much money. They're not.
No. And to be honest, we offered him that twice, and he denied it. So that being said, he is going to move on. We have about 38 million. I know we can finesse, but at the end of the day, we have a lot of work to do on this offensive line, and this is the year to do it in free agency.
Oh,
so
yes.
9.9, I don't think we spend that on him.
Well, it's
just
let's hope he doesn't get desperate. This is what I don't want to happen, right? Let's say they offer him 8.9, $1 million less, right? And he goes out there, and there's a team out there that offers him 9 or 10 million, and he's just scared to test the market and comes back and plays for the $8 million. I'm like, dude, I would like to see him figure it out. Go to a team, be there, get a winner, be a winner. Because what he's missing is that if he becomes a champion somewhere, he's going to make his money. He can still get into the media. He can still do all the things after football that he wants. And I know he wants to be once a Giant, always a Giant. But if we're in rebuilding mode, which this free agency class would allow you to win a few more games, but if we don't think we're going to get to the playoffs, why are we going to waste another year of your good years here? And you already turned down a deal where you're getting paid $14 million a year. And you bet on yourself. And I don't blame him for doing that. Again, the running back position is a funny one because if you don't have a good one, you don't win anything. And if you don't have a good run game, which is what people want now, well, then you need to figure out you can still have a dynamic back and still have a run game. Like that's what people need to understand. Like the problem with Barkley is that you built an offense around him. What you could do is if you had another back that was versatile, you can move him out of screenplays, motion him out of the backfield, do all these things that you do at CMC. But if you don't have a running back and you only rely on him because he's your star player, you get what you got out of Barkley. I don't want to see him do poorly. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he gets his money. I want him to know that you can make money anywhere you go. So,
well said. I do want to touch on Xavier McKinley too. I want to touch on X. I would, this is my problem with him. He's honestly, for his age at 24 years old, he's arguably one of the best safeties you can get.
He's not going to get that. He's going to get more.
But absolutely what Adam just said. I don't want to keep him on because this is just the start of the bidding, and I see a team coming in and giving him his money he deserves. And unfortunately, that's not going to be the Giants.
Well,
now, does he give us a hometown discount? I don't think so. I think he's going to go out there and demand what his money he certainly demands less for. There's a lot of safeties in this free agency, guys. But the question is, this guy is 24 years old. You know what I'm saying? So youth is on his side. Plus, two, you look at what he did on the field. That's on his side. He came back from a tremendous quad accident in Mexico and still performed at a high level. So my questions to you guys is, what's a good fit for him if you guys have any? You want to start this off, Adam?
Well, thank you. I'll start it off. First off, that $10.4 million, it really should be bumped up to $13 million because that's what Kyle Duggar got on the transition tag, and that's basically what the bottom of the market. That's what the bottom of the market for a good safety is going to be, right? That's the bottom of the market. Now there are some good safeties, like we said. Justin Simmons is out there. He's 31 years old. Remember, McKinney has the age on his side. Do I know where he's going to go? I have no real fits for him right now, but he seems like a Pittsburgh type of player to me. Like they go to that defense, he'd be fantastic there. The Saints already signed the Honey Badger, so I don't think he's going to go to New Orleans. Basically, I hate to say it, McKinney's going to go to the highest bidder, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up on somehow the Eagles get him or the Cowboys. So those are the type of players that they seem to sign randomly. I'd like to see him go out there. I'd love to see him back. I was one of those guys who got on him a little bit. I will admit that I will eat a little crow and say I don't think he's playing. Well, actually, I'm not going to say I'm going to eat crow. I'm going to eat crow for grinding him for his play. But I expected the second half of play that we got out of him as McKinney's normal play. So I think I was more mad that he was not playing up to par. But then when he turned around the second half of the year, got his turnovers, was flashing all over the field. That's when I realized, that's the McKinney that we all hope for. So hopefully he doesn't leave. Pricey, I don't think the Giants are going to spend more than $12 million on a safety. I think they're going to go bottom end of the market, especially because they know there's a guy named Bird in the market who just got cut by Philadelphia who knows the defense. Now, that's not necessarily the way I want to go, people. I don't think you want to go with older free agents. However, if you think about it, we talk about bridge quarterbacks. Maybe we need bridge safeties, guys who can come in. Like, it doesn't always work. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. Antoine Bethea comes to mind for me, where he came in. It was an absolute – he had, like, one good play for the Giants, and that was about it. The rest of it was cooked. But I do agree that Bird still might have a little something in him. And then you draft – you can use him and Belton and Pinnock if you wanted to. If you want to save some money. Obviously, you got to pay premium talent. He's a premium talent. Either make it happen or he's going to walk.
Lovely. What's your thoughts on, do you want to keep him? Do you want to let him go, Mac? Or do you have a team if you do want to let him go? If you do have a team, name him. But just take this time, talk on X. Let's get it.
Let's see. A guy that played every defensive snap this season. Do I want to keep that guy? Yeah, I want to keep that guy. I absolutely would like to keep him. Is it likely to happen? Probably not. Just because
Really?
I just think at the end of the day, someone's going to throw him the bag. He's the type of guy, he's really versatile safety. You say a good fit for him. Honestly, he's a guy that can fit in almost anywhere, on almost any defense. I
True.
mean, it's just that's the skill set that he has.
That's what you're paying for.
What he brings to the table. I think that this is just a situation where right now, where the Giants are, he's just not really an investment that can make. There's just so many needs, for this New York Giant team. But Xavier McKinney he's the type of guy that obviously, ideally, if you could work something out, definitely make that happen. But he's not giving the Giants a discount. He's not taking.
Oh, no. He's looking at Kyle Duggar and says, that's where I'm starting.
Yeah.
That's where I'm starting.
Yeah. And so we'll see what happens. Like I said, this is where it gets interesting right now. These next few days are going to be telling, man, this tampering period and whatnot.
I can't wait for Monday.
And it's going to be interesting to see.
Monday can't come soon enough.
Most definitely.
And I never said that before.
Definitely. It'll be. I'm curious. And that's another thing. I just don't want to see I don't want to see these guys put on the enemy's uniform. You can play for any other team in this league. Play for any of the other 28 or so other teams in this league. Just don't put on that green uniform and that other dark shade of blue uniform.
He's going to go play for the Jets.
Or even that burgundy and gold. Don't put that on either. I don't want to see. I just get the hell out of the division. If you're gonna go on, move out of the division. You know what I mean? Don't stick around. Don't do a James Bradbury on us. You know what I mean?
That's facts. That's facts.
Well, that was. Yeah. Well, listen, we cut him too, but we did the right thing there.
Alrighty, I'm just gonna say this about Adoy. Good luck. Go get your money for the remaining of your NFL career. Maybe you have 2 to 3 years left, maybe one really good one. But honestly, I don't want to re-sign Adoy Jackson. I think we look elsewhere for cornerback. Do you guys want to touch on Adoy Jackson before we move on?
He's kind of an anomaly because he does fit the defense that they're running because he ran it a little bit. But I also think his time is up in New York. I just think he wasn't brought here by this regime. He took a couple
from Logan Ryan. That's not even on the team.
He took a couple business decisions in games where the lack of effort was apparent. And this is not me talking. Go watch the tape. There were some times where you're like Adoree could have made the tackle. He eased up. So We'll see. He's a solid player, solid corner. Wouldn't mind him back cheap, but I doubt he's going to come back. He's going to go somewhere else where he could possibly start, or go to a team that's like the Cowboys. That might be a needy team that needs a backup cornerback, or the Eagles who need cornerback help as well. So we'll see. He's still capable. I just don't think he's going to be capable here.
Well said. Go right ahead, Mac.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Adam just said, 100%. It's just, yeah, I mean, he's like you said, capable guy. He makes a play here and there, still a couple, big splash plays, but for the most part, the consistency is not quite for me, it's not quite where I want to see that. And the Giants you got a young stud on the other side. Deontay Banks, man, had a great, tremendous season. I don't think enough people talk about that. But it's time to really just move on and let some of these veteran guys like that, just let them go walk. Go try to get your money, man, because he's not getting that with the New York Giants right now in the next year or two. It's just not.
We don't have enough
It's
to
just
go
not
around.
reality. Yeah, so go ahead and go after it, man. Go chase that. That's what you play this game for, man. Go win championships. And right now you're in a situation where that's just not going to happen right now. So with the New York Giants, so I would say go move on. The thing with Dory Jackson, another one. He's one of those guys. Whereas he may not get necessarily the big major injury, he's always still one thing or another with him. Always something. He's a guy that he lives on the injury report.
Just nagging injuries.
So it's just for that's another reason. It's just I'm okay with just letting Dewey walk.
They don't really have too many other free agents after that.
Lovely. So, yeah, so we didn't even get to the point of the season, guys. Well, we're not even the season, the year where we're negotiating players, and what I mean by that is we're trying to accumulate more resources with readjusting contracts and stuff like that. But without even doing that, guys, we do have $38 million in free agency, and I get it. We have to save some for the rookies, and that's not a lot if you really think about it. But when we go down to the nitty gritty and when we have to move money around, the Giants somehow they just do it. They just move money around. The big topic of today's show is going to be like what we get. What do the Giants focus on in free agency, right? You guys been here time after again every Friday, and if you guys didn't, you guys know how we feel. If you guys don't know, this is how we feel on the quarterback position. Me, I can say it for myself, Mac and Adam, we kind of feel that we need to move on from our quarterback, Daniel Jones. We just don't feel that Daniel Jones is the guy to get it done. We realize that he's going to be on roster, but he's gonna have the opportunity to compete for a starting job. But I honestly think we take a guy at 6. We're taking a guy at 6. We can't just bring in a quarterback and not have a plan, right? We can't just bring in a quarterback and expect this quarterback to succeed behind this trash can of an O-line, right? I can name one player on our O-line that really has a spot on the O-line. I can probably name 2, but the one that deserves a spot and that is deservedly so one of the top tier O-line men in the league is Andrew Thomas. We can all agree that Andrew Thomas is going to be on this line. We can also agree that John Michael Schmitz is going to start at center. Does that stop us from going out there and drafting another center or going and acquiring a center in free agency? Absolutely not. We have to get all the offensive linemen that we can get. We also know that we have this guy that played at IMG, that played at Alabama, that still is on his rookie contract, that took a lot of heat, deservedly so. Because this guy looked like he can't block to save his fucking life. But guess what, guys? He still has one more year to prove him. Do we move him inside? Do we keep him outside? What do we do here? I do believe that this year, more than anything, is a great year to go after offensive linemen. I get it, guys. There's a lot of great offensive linemen in the draft. But the way I look at it is 1, 2, and 3. This is early. This is just me shooting it. 1, 2, 3 quarterback. Harrison to the Cardinals to partner with Kyler Murray, and Joe Oat to the Chargers, right? Which leaves us at 6. There's great offensive linemen in free agency, and we set up for that 6th pick. Do we trade up to that 3rd pick, or do we stay at 6? Does Drake May fall because people will fall in love with J.J. McCourtney? Does J.J. McCourtney get there at do we draft him at 6? What I'm trying to say there, guys, is there 4 quarterbacks available. 2, we can already say that Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams is going to be gone.
That's 5, technically.
there's five. There's Bo Nix, there's Michael Penix in the later round, but they're at six guys. We're looking maybe at a JJ McCourty, maybe at a Drake May. What we're gonna do is we're gonna exercise what pieces do we bring in to help them succeed. Now he's gonna have to match it up with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is gonna get a fire under his fucking ass. Someone to compete with him, and shit, he might lose the job. Daniel Jones might lose the job and be holding a clipboard for $20 million next season if we do draft the quarterback. And if that quarterback
When
we draft the quarterback and when that quarterback competes with Daniel Jones in training camp. What I do have to say is we started off great. We started off by getting an offensive lineman coach. Now, people be like, Zion, you can't say that he didn't do anything. Well, what I can say is I asked Adam on the phone the other day, Adam, do you have an offensive lineman that there's a household name on the Raiders line? Adam answered no. I said, would you say that Andrew Thomas is better than all of the Raiders linemen right now? I would agree, right? When you look at a coach that later on in the season put up 62 points on a team, that embarrassed the division. I wouldn't say embarrassed, but embarrassed the team rival on Christmas Day with Aaron O'Connor back there. That's a coach that took what he had on that offensive line and worked to what he can do with them. He knew that he had to stay up all fucking week and plan for Dexter Lawrence. He knew that when he played us. But guess what? Didn't he somewhat keep Dexter Lawrence in check with that offensive line that's not really household names? Everybody wants to say we look at someone like Louis Riddick. I know I'm going on and on here, guys, and I'm knowing this is a mini mat, but we're gonna open back up to you guys, and I'm gonna let you guys have the mic. Everybody wants to say like Louis Riddick, and I watched it too. Some Giants fans say that Louis Riddick is right. You can't build a team, get a quarterback in here when you don't have the team yet. But didn't we try to build a team for the last 10 years? How much selections did we take on receivers, on offensive linemen, on linebackers, on DT, not really linebackers early, but linebackers late, on DTs, on edge rushers, on everything, including tight ends? Didn't our tight end Aaron Ingram go to Jacksonville just recently? Didn't we draft that guy and he's still not on our team? We can't even pay people like Barkley. We can't even pay people like X. What I'm trying to say here, guys, is why don't we try something new? We drafted one true quarterback. We drafted some quarterbacks like Davis Webb, that is the quarterback's coach for Denver now. We drafted maybe Ryan Nassau, but they wasn't true guys to take over Eli. Eli Manning was still the quarterback there. Davis Webb wasn't the guy to truly take over Eli's spot. So when we drafted the guy at 6 in the name of Daniel Jones, there was only one guy that we actually spent in the last 10 years. So what I'm trying to say, guys, this exercise is
take another swing.
We're gonna take another swing. We're gonna take a quarterback at 6. We're gonna trade up at 3. When we do that, what we're gonna do right now is we want to exercise what does the Giants do in this offseason. There's a lot of names we want, right? A lot of maybe flashy names that we can go out there and get. Maybe people may be like, oh, we'll get a Calvin Ridley and pay him that $17 million a season. But at the end of the day, guys, I think we go after offensive linemen. I think we heavily spend a lot of money on offensive linemen. We grab one guy that's really, really good, that's maybe going to cost you around $13 million a season, and then we get a secondary guy. And I obviously, we keep on shopping if we can afford it on more offensive linemen and also fix other positions. I'm going to open up the mic to you guys. I have a lot of graphics I can pull up, a lot of offensive linemen we're going to get into, but you guys take the mic.
People like Louis Riddick drive me the fuck crazy, and I'm gonna tell you why. You're sitting there saying you got this team, you got to build your team first before you take a quarterback. Okay, we've been drafting players. You draft players, you draft other pieces, linemen, other receivers, running backs. The common denominator with I think a lot of this failure is a guy that wears the number 8 on his jersey, a guy that for 5 years just has not been able to elevate his own goddamn game. Why won't anybody just say that and stop making it every damn thing else? It's like everything else. Enough is enough. Enough is enough already. I get it. The only thing at this point I will give Daniel Jones at all is the fact his rookie season when he was drafted, boneheaded David Gettleman decides to trade away his one legitimate number one threat receiver he had, Odell Beckham. But at this point, after a 5-year evaluation of this dude, it probably wasn't going to matter anyway. He would have found a way to fuck up Odell Beckham too, probably. It's just,
I don't think OBJ
I
has a
don't
Super
get
Bowl.
it. I just don't. I don't get it. Why just no one wants to say that the Giants need to get a damn quarterback. There's a lot of good ones, potentially good ones available in this upcoming draft. You got to get one of them. You got to get one of them. And I'm gonna tell you a guy just right now. I know people have been telling me I've been crazy the last few days. I've been talking about this to random people. A guy on Saturday that stood out to me is Bo Nix, absolutely at that combine. Just watching him go about his business throughout the drills, throughout the workouts. He spun the ball really well. He had good footwork. And if you just look at Bo Nix, if you just look at this dude, he looks like the prototypical. You look at definition quarterback. It's gonna be a picture of Bo Nix right there. He just looks like that guy. And I don't know what it is. I'm starting to get this feeling that he could potentially be the guy. I'm not necessarily saying you got to get him at number 6 if you can finagle another way and try to figure out, but he could be potentially the guy, and he's the guy that kind of skyrocketed up on my personal draft board on Saturday, watching him at the combine. Bo Nix, I like everything. I like what I saw from the young man. I know he's got a little extra season on him than the other kids coming out, but I just really like what I saw from Bo Nix, man. He just looks the part. He looks like a guy that was meant to be a quarterback in the NFL. He looks like a guy that probably was meant to be the quarterback for the New York Football Giants. I dig this kid a lot. That's how I feel about him. I would love to see him come in and replace the absolute shit stain that Daniel Jones left on his organization at that position. It's just enough is enough. Why won't anybody just say, Daniel Jones, you're the common denominator? Nothing else. Everything seems to just be falling apart, seems to be failing. And they keep trying to say the receivers aren't any good, the line isn't any good. Look, they might not be the greatest.
But nobody wants them.
But Daniel Jones he's nothing. He's proven to be nothing.
I'm
sorry, I hate to say that about the kid, but it's just absolutely ridiculous, man. He's been the common denominator through all of this. I just don't get it, man. I don't understand why people like Louis Riddick come out with the things that they've said. Look, as far as the O-line, I think potentially you get a new coach in there, somebody that's coming bringing some new eyes, some new philosophies, man. Coach these kids up, man. I've said it before. I'm not convinced that all these kids are just flat out busts. I'm just not convinced of that. I think it really seriously could have a lot to do with what they were being told, what they were being taught, and you gotta let these kids learn a new way. I mean, Andrew Thomas has proven to be kind of, an anomaly in the situation where he's thrived out throughout the nonsense, but that could just be a testament to how great he actually is. But as far as Evan Neal, I mean, I do with my own eyes when I watch and I look and I see him play. I'm not quite sure he has the footwork to play tackle in the NFL. I think he would just be better off kicked inside at guard. He can be more of a road grader, do what he does best. But we'll see, man. But new eyes on it can make this offensive line a little bit better. JMS at center is already solid. You get a couple other pieces in there and interior at the guard positions, and away we could possibly go, man, on the offensive line. And get your damn quarterback and stop talking yourself out of it and telling yourself, oh, we need a lineman, we need another receiver. No, we do need all those things. We do. We do need all of those things. But you need a damn quarterback too. And that, from the last time I checked, was the most important position on the field, according to everyone else. That's how they get paid to be the most important position on the field. And we don't want to address that. We don't want to address. We want to just keep rolling number 8 there.
Touches the ball every play.
No. Here's my favorite one. Here's my favorite one. Let's trade down in the draft and get a worse prospect than the ones that are, projected to go in the first 2 rounds. Like, yeah, that's a smart idea. Great idea. Let me get the worst of the prospects. That's like me saying, hey, let me trade down and get the worst receiver possible when I have a chance to get, some good ones here. Like, if you have a chance to get a good quarterback, and it's the most important position, you go and take that chance. But getting back to the position, right? I think the Giants are going to be players because they need their new quarterback to be protected. So what is the decree that I've heard going around? Well, it's get your O-line, you can get your quarterback. And I think that's what they're going to try to do. I believe one guy that I like to look at is Robert Hunt. I'm glad you brought him up first, Zion.
I already knew you was going there.
Robert Hunt is the man, the marquee guy I want right now. I'm not saying if we don't get him, there's a couple other guys I like as well. I'll bring those guys up right now. I think I have them. Let me just get my PFF. Yeah, so I like Robert Hunt. He's one of my top guards.
Keep in mind, guys, that's stored in bid, so that's what they're expecting teams to store that. So if you really want Robert Hunt, he's going to go up. But
you're going to get what Kevin Dotson got, and he got that big deal. You're going to get in between there. Now, Robert Hunt's they say he's 27 and a half years old, but he's 28. He's a cap casualty. Now, this is one of those moves that I like because they don't have any money with the Dolphins, so they had to cut him to get under the cap. So this guy probably should still be on their team, and is not.
They can't. They could. I'm sorry to interrupt. They could, but they have a lot of cap problems.
No, but what I'm saying is because they have cap problems, you get a gem like this that comes off on the market, and he should be your top priority. Now, of course, the Giants knowing the Giants, they don't always do things the right way, but there's a couple guys here that I also like. Kevin Zeitler is interesting. I don't know if I bring him in, but he's 34. Dalton Risner is a guy that interests me. Somebody brought him up on Twitter. If you're listening, I think his name is Mace the Flip Flopper on Twitter. He does a good job. He's been bringing up a guy named Dalton Risner, who came off the couch like Justin Pugh and kind of did some good things for the Minnesota Vikings. He's now a free agent. He's also 28. He's a guy that's a bargain basement. He's going to get paid, but you can give him a cheaper deal if you'd like. Ezra Cleveland, that's another deal that probably Dalton Risner can look at 3 years, $28 million, something like that. Damian Lewis, another guy that I would like them to bring in here. Not the greatest of linemen, but, we're talking about a guy who's still young, 26 years old, has starting experience, is 332 pounds of, up front. So you imagine you put that next to Andrew Thomas, you have JMS, and then let's say you get a Dalton Risner, or maybe you get a John Runyon, or the Giants were linked to Jonah Jackson. Maybe you get him and bring him in there. There are plenty of guards in this draft, in this free agency pool. I think the Giants need to bring in at least 3. I would start with Robert Hunt, and then if I can't get Hunt, I'd bring in 2 or 3 lesser guys. But I'd start with Hunt, and then maybe bring in a Jonah Jackson, and then try to get, for a tackle, I'd want to get a guy who had some both tackle experience and guard experience already, right? So that would be probably Aquanu, right? You're not probably going to get him, but he does play guard and tackle experience, right? So Mekhi Becton, he's a guy that, if you want, he's still young, you can bring him in as a swing tackle, might help. Jonah Williams, again, another guy you might want to bring in here as a tackle. Might not cost you that much money, but could be a guy in here if Evan Neal fails, or if you need a backup for Andrew Thomas, because let's be honest, he hasn't stayed healthy a lot this year as well. So for me, the guard and offensive line is going to be big. I really do think, we also might see Tristan Wirfs hit the market. I heard that he might be a cap casualty. With Tristan Wirfs, Jarek Will, one of those two is I think, going to be a cap casualty. So there's going to be guys out there. It's interesting free agency period because there are going to be so many guys, so many talented players out there being cut by teams, being let go by teams, and teams not having enough money to fund, where you can really find and fill out a lot of holes in your roster. The Giants need to get guys that are going to be here, like a Jonah Jackson. He's 26 years old, 26, 27, 28. Be here the duration of that quarterback, the duration of that, guy that you're trying to build with, and you're not always flip-flopping. Then in the draft, what you're supposed to do is identify, best player available. Once you get to a certain point, people talk about best player available. When you get to the draft and free agency, you need to draft for need and make sure you find your cornerstone pieces. Then once you find those guys, the consistent guys, your starting fives, the guys that are going to be there, they don't have to be all Pro Bowlers, but guys that are going to give you your solid 4 or 5 years. That's when you start to draft behind them, so that when they leave, you have somebody there. Or if they stay, you have a bargaining chip now to use to get more resources. Remember, this is a business. Every player you acquire, you should always think about that player getting you assets coming forward or being an asset to your team going forward.
I don't think Jackson is gonna break the bank. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's not. But what I'm saying is, you get John Runyon and Jonah Jackson, or a Robert Hunt and a Jonah Jackson, or something like that, or even a Connor Williams, or some, guys like that. There are enough adequate.
Well, when have you ever seen a free agency with this much linemen? And I get it, guys. You could say like they might not turn up, but no, they have proven history. These are not draft pick guys. These are not guys we're drafting. These are proven commodities that teams can't afford to keep them. So you guys gotta understand too, when we talk about all these linemen. I mean, like, I know a lot of people watch our show is more experienced in football than I am, because I can be a dumbass at times. But you gotta understand, guys, that these linemen, it's not every day that this time of the year that linemen is available in free agency.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? And this much. Continue.
It's because of salary cap restrictions that have happened. A lot of people overspent, and they're trying to get over that. The cap next year is going to go up a lot more, so you'll see a lot more contracts. That's why I'm saying to people right now, you get your quarterback, because look, if they build the offensive line out right now, right, then you go in there, and there's a receiver I want to talk about that I want to bring in 1 minute, Kendrick Bourne from the Patriots. He doesn't have to be. He's not a big name signing, but why bring him in? Because you need to fill out the roster for the receiving core, anyways, right? And what I would do is bring a guy like
$17 million.
Bring a guy like Kendrick Bourne, who's coming off an injury. He's probably not going to command that much money. Who's a solid player, can give you some snaps. You get a guy in there, your quarterback in there. You have some offensive linemen that are already there, right? You can then get a receiver in the second round, and now you have a receiving core. You get your running back, a running back. I like DeAndre Swift in here. There's a lot of things the Giants can do to get stopgap players for now, like Kendrick Bourne. He's not going to cost you that much money to bring him in, and he's a solid production player, right? He's not a superstar. I know the Giants need a superstar receiver, but the Giants have 3 real receivers under contract right now that are going to be there. They have Wando Robinson, Darius Slayton, and I think Jalen Hyde is the other one, right? And then you have a couple other guys, Isaiah Hodgins and a few others that are sprinkled in there, but nobody that's really you're going to say is going to make it. This guy could be your Paris Campbell. He can be a gadget player. He can be a solid possession receiver for you. He's got some speed. It doesn't preclude you, but again, you need veterans. So let's say you get a young guy in here. He can help the quarterback out. It's just you're building for your quarterback, and that's what this free agency is about. And it's exciting because there are so many players that are going to be available. And we talk about the offensive line. I've given you a couple guys that I like to talk about. There is a receiving core. The receiver core is not as deep as the offensive lineman in this draft, in this free agency class, which is great because the Giants can really get their team to about an average team really quickly. And that's why I'm saying you bring in your quarterback, you get Dalton Reisner, you get, Jonah Jackson, you bring in, Kendrick Bourne, maybe you bring in an edge player, and then you go in the draft, you draft your quarterback, you get another receiver, maybe you get another edge, a tight end, and things like that. And before you know it, the Giants have the makings of what we call a football team. Then come 2025, with whatever draft picks that we have, because if we haven't traded up to go get a quarterback, now we have more free agent money to not only get more contracts in here and build and maybe get a big-time receiver that might be on the market, or draft a big-time receiver next year in a class that's also loaded at wide receiver, right? We can do so many things if we do this free agency right, meaning getting the lineman, getting maybe an edge player, getting a receiver, maybe a cornerback for cheap, and then drafting your quarterback at 6. Because I believe no matter what you do, even if you bring in a Ryan Tannehill, because I think that's where they're going to go. Because they were saying Sam Darnold. They said Sam Darnold, Jacob Eason, and maybe a Drew Lock, I think, something like that. I wouldn't mind Drew Lock here. Like, if you were going to give me if you were going to punt on a quarterback, that's a guy that I would be like, all right, at least give me him for 2 years. I might have a little fun, and he throws the ball downfield. He's not going to be exciting as Daniel or better, but at least I'll have something to cheer about, right? Because at the end of the day, if they screw this up, we're all screwed, And there are too many quarterbacks in this draft to not build for them, and this free agency class is too deep to not to not get some type of lineman. And I wouldn't be surprised if you heard right out the gate on Monday in the tampering period that the Giants are lining up for getting some of these linemen. So,
Well said, well said. I do honestly. I want to name two players, and I believe we can actually get them both. And you name both. I believe Jonah Jackson is a player that's not going to demand a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? He is going to demand money, but he's not going to demand a lot of money. But one player that I'm hearing around the Giants, circles and things of that nature is, I believe I closed it. No, I didn't. Is Robert Hunt. I honestly think Robert Hunt. He's young. He's gonna probably demand or probably gonna get him for about 13 million if we can, but I would pay him 13.5 because this kid just turned 27 and he's a guard and we need to fill that position. And at the end of the day, too, we can even afford to get him to get someone maybe like a Connor Williams. I know that sounds crazy, but at the end of the day, I think our big spendings in free agency is gonna be offensive linemen, and we can get trust me, guys. If you look at a lot of positions that we do need, there's a lot of older players out there. If we don't get rid of Xavier McKinley, right? We get rid of Xavier McKinley. I mean, like Justin Simmons just got released from Denver, and he's not going to demand that much money. Does he deserve that much money? Absolutely. But is he going to make it? No, because of his age. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at Michael Hyde out of Buffalo, you know what I'm saying? And
you bring up a good point. Not to interrupt you. If you start to spend money on
the open discussion,
if you tend to spend money on the O line, somebody's going to be robbed of the bank. Meaning, if McKinney says, "I am going to go out and find my, offer," the Giants say, "Go ahead. That's more power to you. You should do that, right? We're not going to pay you more than the bare minimum of 13 million that Kyle Duggar got. If you think you can get 14, 15, by all means, go out and do it." But what it does mean, what you have to tell them is on the contingency, we're going to have that money when you come back. Meaning, I'm not going to sit here and wait for you, but you can go out and get an offer. I'm going to go now spend that money. If I come back and spend that money and you come back to me and say, I want 13 million, I'd be like, well, I can only give you 11 now because I spent my money on getting this guy, which means what I'm saying is if the Giants don't care and are just like, screw it, I don't really give a damn what happens. I have these backup plans, like you said, with Justin Simmons here that might be less. So I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're trying to move on. I think this is a full rebuild. And that's why I go on a lot of Twitter spaces. And Twitter can be toxic. But there's people on there that talk about, different things. And one of the things they were bringing up was, what the Giants are going to do with these guys and letting them walk. And we thought about it, and it's like the Giants don't have to the Giants are starting off good because they didn't transition tag, nor did they franchise tag either one of these guys. I thought that was a brilliant move. And why is that? Because now we're not handicapped with that money to spend it if we don't need to. You can go there, get your money, go out and do what you need to do, take care of your family, you get a better deal. We obviously want you. McKinney, we love you. We stuck by you.
Yes, absolutely.
Your hand and all that other bull crap that you put us through. We obviously like you. However, we're not in the mode of getting to the playoffs or doing anything. We're rebuilding. So go out and get your money. If we happen to spend that money because we found a couple guards that we like, well, so be it. And if we lose McKinney because I'm getting Robert Hunt and, Dalton Reisner and a couple guards and maybe, a corner, so be it. I'm not saying I don't want to keep my players. I know a lot of people are arguing about the McKinney thing. Oh, you don't want to keep your players. I'm like, look, man, if he wants to go out and find money and he goes and gets that bag and he says, man, I'm getting $15 million a year. What do I care if he leaves? That's his business. I want McKinney back. I think he's a good player. But if he goes out and somebody wants to pay him that kind of money, by all means, he should go out and take that money. He shouldn't, like Max said, take a hometown discount because let's be real. Why should he? He's 24 years old. He thinks he's the best safety. He just signed David Mulligan, I think is his agent or something like that. That's a rumor. And he's one of the guys that gets people paid. So just think about that, And I have a couple other guys I'd like to talk about. I don't know about you, Mac, but I'm really interested in Bryce Huff, I think the kid's name is, from the Jets, the edge rusher. And then Greenlaw from Houston. I like him too. I would love to get. I think we can get those. I think we can get those guys. Not necessarily cheap, but at least like the top edge defender is right. Josh Allen's franchise. Brian Burns is franchise. Danielle Hunter is 29, but he's going to get the bag. Bryce Huff is the next guy I would throw money at if I was the Giants. I'm not sure if I want Chase Young, even though he's 24 years old. I'm not sure if I want to.
Huff from the Jets?
Yes. I mean, if Chase Young comes in cheap, I would take a flyer on him. Jonathan Greenard is another guy.
It's the guy I want, but we won't get him because we already have him on roster. But imagine him and Dexter Lawrence on roster, but he's too expensive also.
Who?
But think about it.
Oh,
think
Christian
about it. Think about it. That's OP. No one's running on us on the outside, but the middle is sealed. Ain't nobody running on the middle.
Well, someone said the Giants might be interested in Zadarius Smith. That might be an interesting one. I don't know if I want Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, the edge market is not too great. I mean, you have Uche here who plays. I mean, that's a guy that's young. Leonard Floyd, I wouldn't mind coming him in a 10-year, a cheap deal. Van Ginkel is a player on there. Darnell Autry, people are telling me about, might come in. He's played for the Titans, so that might be a thing. But as long as it's a cheap deal, I'm not, I'm not, breaking the bank on that guy. But like Dorrance Armstrong, like if you're gonna do something, do it young, right? Like Brandon Graham, I don't want to hear. Carl Lawson's interesting. I think you get him for dirt if you really wanted to, because of all the injuries he had. So you really wouldn't get anything out of him. Someone said AJ Espinosa. I don't really want him either. It's not Kyle Van Noy is intriguing, but again, he's 33. Marcus Davenport's interesting again, but I don't know if he fits our system. It's really about. Oh wow, Darryl Taylor's available. Interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see. They can get a lot of. There's going to be a lot of shopping done for the Giants, and I believe that.
Oh yeah, give me some Kevin Bird right now. Sign him up if you know what I'm saying.
I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is like because Monday you can. Actually, Bird's cut. You can technically talk to him right now. There's no tampering because he's not under contract. I think he was released by the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken. And if he was, that means you can talk to him. But the point is, maybe they called him up and said, "Hey, man, what is your interest level of coming to the Giants?" And all of a sudden, McKinney comes out and says, "We did this," and you go out and you sign a couple guards, and you're like, "Well, we got this guy here, Bird, who we can get here on a 1-year deal, and then you can bring in, we have Jarvis Owens on the team. We still have Dane Belton. We have Jason Pinnock that we can get, so it's not like we're starving at the safety position. And I don't believe Joe Shane is going to really dump a lot of money into the safety position. I really don't, especially I don't think guys that are not his guys, right? Like, yes, he did Andrew Thomas. Yes, he did Dexter Lawrence, but notice that's the only two guys he's done from the other regime. I mean, he did do Daniel Jones, but I think he's trying to get out of that contract, and Saquon Barkley. But those two guys are not back now, right? And Barkley, it's unfortunate for him. I think in the running back market, if we're going to go to the running back market right now, let me just bring up my running backs here on PFF. There's a couple guys here that intrigue me that I wouldn't mind being the first to kind of get here, and that's definitely not Saquon Barkley. I'm tired of you. I'm just kidding.
Singletary. I see we got the Singletary.
Austin Eckler is kind of interesting to me. DeAndre Swift is interesting to me. I don't know if I want J.K. Dobbins. Too much injuries for me, but you'd probably be cheap. Someone said Singletary. Gus Edwards.
I said it because I see we draft a running back, but we need a veteran. I would love to go after Austin Eckler for that price.
I want AJ Dillon.
AJ Dillon. No, fuck that. No, fuck that.
Oh, no. Hear me out. You get AJ Dillon, right? Who's a bruiser type of back, right? Then you can have another scat back. I'm just saying a scat back to like because if you look at what Green Bay did,
dude,
if you look at what Green Bay did, Green Bay had a run game of two-headed monster. Right, so if you
but there's also games that Aaron Jones was hurt at him that AJ Dillon did fucking absolutely shit when he had his chances.
Well,
look, guys, I don't know. Call me. Well, but I'm not really completely unconvinced that Eric Gray can develop into something
Eric
potentially,
Gray, yeah, he's still on roster.
stout for the New York Giants. I mean, he had limited opportunities this year on the offense, but I think he showed in some flashes that he could potentially, be a bit of a factor. You know what I mean? Not necessarily a bell cow by no means, but that goes kind of hand in hand what you said with the AJ Dillon thing. You have a guy like AJ Dillon in there that can kind of be that big bruiser guy, and then a guy like Eric Gray that can come in and kind of hit the
That's
home run every once in a while.
that's a
So I
bomb
mean,
point. That's that Eric Gray, and
it's
that's my
ways to go.
counter. Eric Gray and Devontae Freeman, Adam. You know what I'm saying? Eric Gray and Devontae Freeman. I'll take Devontae Freeman over Dylan any day of the week. And I love that you brought out Gray because of the fact that I do believe that he can become the starting running back. But I also do believe that we are going to bring in a veteran for that position. And shout out to Mac for giving Gray some love. Let him develop. Absolutely.
Listen, I want to bring in the kid from Notre Dame, the big bruising back. But what I'm saying is, for a cheap back like AJ Dillon can come in. What you got to understand is this: I want a lot of these guys to develop. Right? That's what Joe Shane did. He relied on his offensive lineman. It didn't work out. Now he has to go out and get some big wigs out there, and we see may the best 5 linemen win. Same thing with running backs. I want Eric Gray. I think Eric Gray was brought in here because he was envisioned as the possible replacement for Saquon Barkley. I mean, we talked about it a lot in preseason. They gave him a lot of carries and kind of got him experience. He got a couple exposures in the games. He had a couple carries in the games. He was the first back called up in certain spots. So I think they were trying to get him ready. Trust me, I like what Eric Gray brings to the table. I think he's going to be a decent back next year when he gets his carries. But I think a guy like AJ Dillon can help usher that in. Remember, we need a run game. We're not when I talk about AJ Dillon, I'm not saying he has to be the feature back. We need to fill in the positions.
He's only 25 too. I would give
right.
him that.
Well, you sign him to a couple-year deal, right? Matt Breida has done nothing. Gary Brightwell can kick rocks. So it'll be Eric Gray, Joshua Corbin, AJ Dillon, right? Fighting for and maybe a draft pick that you bring in. Fighting for those 3 spots, right? And may the best man win. Eric Gray provides value as a kick returner, a punt returner, right? And he'll probably be the first one to crack the lineup because he already knows the playbook. Now you don't have to go like that. You can go even more bargain basement shopping in the running back, like a guy like Zach Moss, who's 26 years old for Indiana. You have Dante Freeman. You have Antonio Gibson. He might be somebody you want to do. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Really, that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is about to be 25 years old. He has big time experience. He once was a featured back. He's a guy that you may want to sign for cheap, right? That can come in here and compete for running back. Actually, that might be an interesting move if they decided to go really, really, really cheap.
But we're all in agreement. We're all in agreement. Like a Zach Moss, a AJ Dillon, a Devontae Freeman. Like Gray's our number 1. You know what I'm saying? And they're just coming in to lighten the load. If we're gonna go like running back by committee, I do agree at Mac and I do agree at No Mets. I want to see Gray develop, but I do believe that we bring in a veteran and also a draft pick.
Well, like I said, I think a guy like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they're not going to bring in a bell cow. They'll probably try to save that for the for the draft.
Unless Derrick Henry gives us a fucking discount.
no, but and he shouldn't. But what I'm saying is, you're going to need to fill in those. You're going to need 90 men on the roster, right? And you might as well fill it out with some quality guys. AJ Dillon's not a bad guy to have in your roster for goal line situations, getting down there, especially if you're getting road grading off the linemen. I think what the Giants need is to also find a tight end. I like Irv Smith as a blocking tight end. And let's get to Waller real quick because this has been bothering me. Maybe we can end the show like this or end it on that nose or close it out.
Like Mac doesn't get that much time to talk, so Mac can have the mic.
Right. Mac can have the mic for the next 25 minutes if he'd like. But what I'm saying is F Darren Waller, okay? This guy says he's half retired. He's not retired. In my eyes, if you think about retiring, you might as well not let the door hit you on the way out. All right, bro? Like, you're either all in or you're not. You can't be half-assing this. And especially at a time where we're about to hit free agency on Monday, we need an answer. So I think it's kind of shoddy what he's done to the team, putting him in this kind of position. And I think there's some decent tight ends out there. Definitely some in the draft. But, Mac, I'll let you speak. Everyone's heard enough of me.
I mean, it's Darren Waller to me is just he's a funny dude, man. Like you said, uh, the way you were talking about retirement, man, bro. Like you said, just go ahead and go, man. Go right off into the sunset, bro. Go start your rap career. Focus on your rap career. At 31 years old, you won't go and start and focus on your rap career. Give me a break, man. Like just go ahead, bro. Like look, it is what it is, man. You can't really stay healthy anyway. You can't really be dependent upon. So just go ahead and ride off in the sunset. Nobody's gonna really
Like, what are
miss
we
you.
waiting for?
1 year. He was here for 1 year. Nothing special. Didn't
It was okay. It was the best. It was the best year we had in a tight end for a long time. That's the worst part, man. He had one touchdown and 500 yards. Like, wow. He had 500 yards and barely
yeah.
played.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
Oh,
look,
Jimmy
that's just
Graham
to
had
show
four
how
touchdowns.
this
He had more touchdowns than Waller.
how bad this team was. Look,
Well, I get it.
Waller, man, go ahead and peace out, bro.
Maybe he's waiting to find out who the quarterback's going to be before he decides to come back. I don't know. I mean, I'm saying that tongue in cheek. But if he's like, Russell Wilson's coming back here, oh shit, I'll come back and play. If Daniel Jones is my starter, I don't get the ball anyways. Maybe I'll retire. I don't know. You know, other than that,
Possibility, but I don't know, man. I guess you start talking about retirement stuff, you might as well just do it.
Yeah, I mean, like if you already
Speaking
put
of
it in the
retirements,
universe,
speaking of
do it.
retirements, I know we've been talking a lot about the New York Giants, a lot of free agency stuff, but Jason Kelsey, I'll say it. He played for the enemy, but it was one great career, man. It was fun to
Oh,
watch.
absolutely. Let's
He
touch on
was just
that.
always quite the interesting character. Regardless, man, forget him in the parade coming out. He was won Super Bowl with that crazy outfit costume he had on at the parade. So Jason Kelsey, man, congratulations. You got
congrats.
your chip. You got a chip.
Chip
You're
chip.
gonna be a Hall of Fame for sure. Right off to the
No doubt
sunset,
about it.
man. Enjoy your family, and kind of at least you're not one of the ones that kind of lingered around longer than past your prime. You had a great career. And you went on your own terms, man. So props to Jason Kelsey. He played for the enemy. It's got to be
Well,
kind of time out
greatness
every
is
once in a
greatness.
while. But here,
Listen, greatness is greatness. We saw his press conference. It was something that I wouldn't say, I don't want to make it overly dramatic, but it was something to behold, to have somebody have that emotion come out. Thank all that, he came out in Jason Kelson fashion, not in a suit. He came out and, his mutton chop, his arms are out, the guns are out, sun's out, guns out. Only way Jason Kelsey could do it. And, had some emotion up there. And you really think about, I'm like, this guy's been in the league 13 years. I'm like, damn, where did it all go? Right? 13 years went like back in a blur. I don't even remember him, but there he is plugging away, fighting with Dexter Lawrence. And it's one of those things where he makes you better, right? He makes your team better against you when you're playing against a guy like that, because you now have to bring your A game. How do I beat that? How do I get past one of the smartest linemen of all time? How can we get to the quarterback? And in terms of Hall of Fame centers, he should be up there. We got guys like Kevin Mawai, and there's others, Stefnowski, and a few others in the Hall of Fame. But he's one that's going to be unique because he really was smart. He really was kind of a chess player out there as an offensive lineman, as a center, and he did cover up for a lot of the things on the line that a lot of people don't account for and mask for. And I think, like, for example, last year, if you had a savvier quarterback who wasn't dumb, like Daniel Jones, maybe you don't have as much blocking ineptitude because JMS, who is a rookie, doesn't know every freaking scheme. You can check him in and out of things to get him out of there because you know what you're doing. And Kelsey wouldn't have to do that because Hurst could call the play and he would know what to do and allow Hurst to play free because he's got the line calls. He doesn't need to worry about anything else. And that's the difference between having a guy who's experienced and a guy inexperienced, right? So if you had a young quarterback under an experienced center, right, that helps because that guy knows what you're doing. And I think people take for granted the center position, and it's gonna be interesting to see what they can do going forward. Sorry that was long winded.
Nah, you're great. Yeah, shout out to Kelsey, man. What a absolutely killer of a career. You know what I'm saying? Watch his documentary on Prime a couple months back. Beautiful documentary, and obviously you get to see how much these players put on the line. For their
Drain it
families
down. Yeah.
and for their bodies. You know what I'm saying? And I know he wanted to probably stay one more year, and probably I didn't really watch his speech. I apologize, but at the end of the day, I knew he probably wanted to stay one more year, and his body and his family obviously comes first. And shout out to him. I know the Eagles are gonna have to fill a void that probably won't be filled for a long time because
Well,
we're looking forward to
he won.
and a special player like that. Yeah, he won. He
He's
ran
won a
out on
Super
top.
Bowl.
Absolutely, and it's it's gonna be hard to fill a spot like that. But it just goes to show you that
You know what he did?
I don't
He
know,
gave it one more run. That's what he did.
give
He
it
gave
one
it
more
one
one.
more run.
Absolutely.
They went to the Super Bowl. He probably would have retired if they won that Super Bowl. He probably would have
yes.
retired in the sunset.
Guaranteed
He
would've.
said, you know what? Let me run it back one more year, see what happens.
Yep.
At the end of this, I'll retire anyways. They ended up floundering in the playoffs, but they were good enough to get there, and it was a good time to move. He got a shot. Who knows what's going to happen?
And just what a fun, like, he just looks like a fun person to be around. I watch his New Heights podcast at times. I don't watch all the episodes, but even seeing him supporting his brother at the Super Bowl and getting crazy with all the fans and Taylor Swift fans and all that, rocking the Chiefs set as soon as he lost his championship game. It's just absolutely amazing to watch. And shout out to him, and yeah, let's get it. Mac, over to you. Anything you want to talk about?
Just want to ask something real quick, go around real fast. It's April, it's the draft. Let's take Caleb Williams off the board because the only way we're getting him is if somehow we move up to number one. So let's take him off the board. Which quarterback do you guys absolutely want? Who is your guy? Who's the one that you absolutely want? Other
Drake
than
May.
Caleb Williams, like I said.
I love Drake May. Don't get me wrong, I love all these quarterbacks. I have to be honest. I love JJ McCarthy for us as well. But Drake May intrigues me the most. And I think with Brian Dable as our head coach, I think he would find a way to get that guy to be the guy that we walk about. I know there's a lot of slander going on by Drake May right now. I want to say something right now. This is what you pay coaches for. This is what you pay coaches for. Right? And everybody keeps saying Drake May is the worst, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? Drake May is going to be a giant. He's already latched on with Eli Manning. That's already getting him in good graces. He's falling down the boards, kind of like Kayvon Thibodeau did, right? And Kayvon Thibodeau landed in our laps. I draft McCarthy at 4. It's about getting your quarterback and not worrying about when you're picking him. Yes, over BPA because the quarterback is that important. You gotta understand. You gotta understand like this, right? Let me break it down real quick, and I'll land this plane. Drake May is a franchise-moving quarterback. You do what you can to get him. You get him in here. You can start Daniel for 8 games, 9 games. He wins, great. You trade him. He doesn't win, fine. We're a losing record. You put the young kid in. Brian Dable's job is to get the best out of this quarterback. Drake May is one of the best prospects in the draft. He's falling because people are, adding these rumors and trying to add this stuff, which is usually what happens this time of year. Same thing happened to Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau was supposed to be the number 1 ranked defensive player, was going to go number 1 overall. Somehow he mysteriously ended up on the Giants because he had lack of effort and lack of tape. So that's my quarterback. To tell you about BPA, yes. See, the thing is this, no Mets, no Jets. I'm not trying to take Spencer Rattler as my plan A. Right, when I have a chance to get one of the best quarterbacks. You're looking at Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, and all those guys say, take one of them. And I would agree with you if we didn't have a quarterback problem. We have a quarterback problem we need to address in the first round. And where are the top quarterbacks? You're usually at the top of the first round. You go get one. And George Young said it best. Phil Simms was supposed to be a late first-round pick. He took Phil Simms at 6. He said, I don't have a late first-round pick. My pick is at 6. So you pick the guy right there because you don't worry about getting cute. And then in the second round, where there are 17 receivers who are ready to go in the first round alone, there are going to be 17 receivers, maybe more after the pro days, that are going to be ranked to go first-rounders. Why can't I get a guy in the second round like Xavier Leggett or Keon Coleman, who, by the way, ran a 4.61 at the 40. That's not putting you up draft boards. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? That's not. People are going to take you down. So that guy may be in the second round. And that guy maybe was steal in the second round because it was 40 time. So I'm worried about that. Get your quarterback in place by hook or by crook. That's what I have to say about that over BPA. Yes, I'll do that.
Absolutely love it. The way I look at it, I'm going to touch on the receivers as well, but then answer your question in the end, Mac. There's 11 receivers I rank, and a lot of people do rank in the top 50 picks, but there's about 23 to 24 receivers that can go in round 1, 2, and 3. That in other years, just let those numbers sit in, okay? I look at someone that I call me biased, but I look at someone like Jerry Rice's son, Brandon Rice. He played for SC. That guy had an amazing year, almost 900 yards and 41 catches. 12 touchdowns.
Charles Walker.
Absolutely amazing. He runs faster than what he ran at the combine. He's going to show up at his pro day with Caleb Williams. But I see someone like that is mocked in the 4th round that we probably can get in the 3rd round, because I don't think he's going to go in the 4th. I think he's going to go in the 3rd. I look at that. We didn't even spend our 2 second-round picks. So at the end of the day, I look at these.
Xavier Leggett.
Yeah, I like Xavier Leggett. You look at all these receivers, man. There's a deep receiving class this year. There's a deep, not as deep, but there's a deep offensive lineman class this year. If you look at the quarterbacks, there's really the cream of the crop. Then you get some in the second, and then there's the fall off. You know what I'm saying? If you think of next year, you have these quarterbacks. I can only really truly name one in Sanders that's going to be a true number 1 pick. I mean, like round 1 pick. You can say Quinn Edwards would be there. Maybe Dylan Gabriel has an amazing season at Oregon, and his name starts popping up on these radars. You know what I'm saying? And there's these other ones, but they're ranked 2nd and 3rd rounds. This is a fucking draft, guys, that's been for a while. If you've been looking and watching for a while, since around 2020 was kind of overshadowed with COVID, but 19. But when you have 2021, we already knew that this draft is going to be special. We already know that 2027 is going to be special with Arch Manning and the boys and Malachi Nelson if he balls out and stuff like that. But long story short, guys, this is the draft that these scouts has been waiting for. If you do need a quarterback, if you look at last year's draft, it wasn't really quarterback heavy, right? You look at this year's draft, this is the year to get your quarterback. Jaden Daniels, amazing year at LSU, absolutely a stud, but popped out of nowhere. I wouldn't say he's a nobody. I had him ranked as 7th quarterback going into the season. Travis. Beyond the point, I knew who he was. People knew who he was, but we didn't know he was going to have that kind of season, right? If you look at someone like Drake May, who basically didn't have damn near as much talent about him that Caleb Williams had, that Jaden Daniels had, they damn near lost some a lot of people in the draft, a lot of seniors. Damn near didn't really have talent. Showed yet again that. When you look at these experts breaking down his game, right? They're really digging him up deep, and I want them to, because that's the guy I think that would fit for the Giants, would fit for Brian Daboll, and the best is yet to come. You don't look at Drake May and think he's a finished product yet, right? We look at Drake May and be like, damn, what can Brian Daboll do with that guy, man? This guy is ranked really, really high on a lot of people's boards. If Andrew Luck was a 10 and Caleb Williams was a 9.5, this guy would be a 9.3. Okay, he's not that far behind. I want to see what if Drake May had Lincoln Riley as his head coach, and what if Drake May was throwing a ball to all these receivers? I get it. USC didn't have a line. I'm not trying to defend my team, but what if Drake May was in the position that Caleb Williams was in? You know what I'm saying? He would have pretty good numbers as well, and that's not to take away from Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is I believe going to be a phenom in this league, but I also see Caleb Williams as Patrick Mahomes. Don't jump to conclusions, guys. Don't get hysterical with me. Caleb Williams is your Patrick Mahomes, and Drake May is your Josh Allen in comparison. And in my mind, I don't say Drake May is player comp Josh Allen. I'm just saying like that's how close I believe he is to Caleb Williams. And if you had to pick a quarterback, I say we go JJ at 6 because I think Drake May is off the board. But if Drake May is still on the board at 6, we take Drake May and we're off to the races. And we have this conversation in 2-3 years when Drake May is actually certified as a quarterback. And I get it.
Certified G now.
Yeah, it's like Zion. How can you say that? You never know what can happen. Look at all these other quarterbacks that got drafted in the first round. They didn't pan out to shit. Yeah, they didn't pan out to shit. But at the end of the day, this is the different era of quarterback, guys. This ain't 2017. This ain't 2018, guys. I can honestly say this ain't 2021, guys. And honestly, I think these quarterbacks
They all
or
be
gonna
first
be
in a
known.
different class. Like they
Or
all
gonna,
be first in a
yeah,
different class.
are gonna be known. If Caleb Williams was to come out last year, we all know he would have been taken before all these quarterbacks. And I guarantee you, if Drake May was to come up last year, people would be debating Drake May or homie Bryce Young or homie CJ Stroud. And I'm not trying to take anything away from CJ Stroud. Look what CJ Stroud did. I'm gonna end my point with this. I don't want to drag this on. CJ Stroud went into a Texans team and he brought life into a fucking Texans roster. Yeah, you can say it was D'Amico, and yeah, you can say they traded up and got Anderson to bring life to that defense. Fuck that. He changed the culture. He changed the culture as soon as CJ Stroud's name was read. The culture changed forever in Houston. You know what I'm saying? And you could be like, well, Zion, we didn't know he was going to have that amazing season. Fuck that. We knew what he could do in college. You know what I'm saying? That Ohio narrative was lost. You know what I'm saying? Ohio quarterbacks can't do anything. Fuck that. That kid's a winner. And he fucking proved it. Drake May's a winner. JJ McCourtney's a winner. Jaden Daniels a winner. Caleb Williams a fucking winner. Bo Nix is a winner. Michael Penix is a winner. And tell me, don't take a quarterback, you fucking out of your mind. Go right ahead, Matt.
No, I mean, this is good. I just, well, guys, I told you earlier in the show. I hope, like I said,
Bo
I
Nix?
just kind of,
Go next.
I just something about you just see guys, something about him, man. It just,
I
he
don't
just, you can't
necessarily
the
mind Bo
experience.
Nix.
You can't the experience. You can't. You also can't ignore the experience. 61 starts
I have a feeling it's going to be Bo
in
Nix. Yo.
college. That's just.
He's the guy we're not
That's
talking
just-
about.
that's
He's the
just-
guy we never talk about for the Giants, right? He's the only guy that we rarely say is going to be a Giant. Well, guess what? That's probably the guy that's going to be the Giant.
I mean, I'm talking about him. Like I said, it's just something about him, man. You just look at him. He just looks the part. I don't know if that makes any sense, but he just looks
makes
the part.
sense.
He just like he's meant. He just looks like he was meant to be there. Like that's what he was born to do. So
Be quarterback for the New York
I just
Giants.
see-
And that's the thing. Like, people may want to be
I
like,
just
Mac, you're fucking crazy.
see
You put
something,
Bo
man.
Nix at 6. No, fuck that, guys. If you fall in love with your quarterback, you get him no matter where he is. Okay, we Daniel Jones wasn't 6 overall. Shit, we took him at 6.
But that's what
So
people are
don't
worried
give me,
about.
Bo
I'm not
Nix
worried about that.
No, Giants fans is gonna be like, Bo Nix is ranked in the second round. Fuck that. If you fall in love with the guy, you take him. You take him.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is this: I don't want to play the board.
Yeah.
Like Mike said, if you like Bo Nix and all the quarterbacks are taken, or you like Michael Penix Jr., don't be like, oh, let me get cute, because guess what?
Yeah.
Michael Penix Jr. is going in the top 15 probably after his pro day. So there's probably going to be 5 quarterbacks that go in the top 15 to 20 picks. And you're going to try to sit there and get cute because you want to say, oh, well, I only get Spencer Rattler in the second round. No. Why? See, the thing is this. With the quarterback pool, this is what people need to understand. The
Give the mic back to you. I kind of jacked him, but make your point.
I want to close with this. The receivers have a lot more players in the pool. The quarterbacks don't. So with the limited selection that I have and the number 1 overall pick that I have, I'm closer to getting a guy in a quarterback that's going to be good than the probability of a receiver being bad. Meaning I'm probably going to still get a good receiver in the second round, regardless of what I do, because there's going to be so many and other players are going to be drafted. Somebody's going to get pushed down the board. There's going to be a quality receiver in the top of the round that I can trade up for.
And Hyatt is still on the team, and Robinson's still on the
team.
Right.
So I can still get a solid player, an Xavier Leggett, a Keon Coleman, right? And what if they came away with Tez Walker, right? So what I'm saying is that the quarterbacks, the drop-off from Drake May to Spencer Rattler is far greater and going to probably need more work to get out of than that. Does Brian Dable and Joe Shane have time to groom Michael Pratt into being something? No. Does that instill confidence in you that going forward we're going? Now, don't get me wrong, but I like Michael Pratt, yes. If Daniel Jones had played well, I would say, all right, draft Michael Pratt in the 4th round in case Daniel blows up or gets injured this year, blah, 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 right? And then we at least have a backup in-house. But this would be pertaining that we have a quarterback. We don't. We have a first-round quarterback problem. We have a problem that we should address in the first round where the guys are the most talented.
Lovely.
Well, let's talk about real quick. I don't know if you got as much of the combine on Saturday when the quarterbacks were working out, but there was a late round prospect. I mean, he's definitely going to be a late round pick. He's not definitely not going at the top in the first round, anything like that. B that stood out to me a little bit for him, just watching him throw the ball as well. He was had throwing the ball
Joe
really
Milton.
well. Devin Leary out of Kentucky. I'm talking about
Yes.
Devin Leary out of Kentucky.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought him up. I thought he had a great combine. And I thought, I thought I was the only one that noticed. But I was watching him and I was like, man, if the Giants, want to sneak a guy in on a sixth round, right, and really be sneaky with it, he's an intriguing guy. Like, he's got all the intangibles. He can throw the ball. I thought he threw the ball probably as one of the best guys out there, right? If you think Bo Nix threw the ball well or one of those guys, he was right up there with them. And he impressed me with throws. The throw they impressed me the most with was his deep ball. But he was decisive. He was hitting guys on time. And I heard about the Giants being somewhat interested in him at the Shrine Bowl, East-West Shrine game or whatever the hell that is. And I'm like, oh my God, if we only had a quarterback that was, that we wanted to get rid of, like a stopgap, like we had a Joshua Dobbs or something like that, I'd be like, let's get a Devin Leary in here. Let's bring him in here and try it out. But if he's there in the undrafted world, I would pick him up. You just throw a flyer in there. Let's say you get Drake May, fine, whatever, right? And let's say you get Devin Leary. Let's say it doesn't work out, but Leary's the better one. Leary was pretty good in NC State or wherever he was before, and then he went to Kentucky and kind of fizzled out. So I'm intrigued by him as a late round quarterback prospect. I would, if the Giants were, in the playoffs, but Daniel Jones was still Daniel Jones, I would probably be clamoring for a guy like this to be at least a backup. But I'm not saying that right now. My mission is get one in the first round, get one in the second round, or don't get one at all. So that's just how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, good stuff. I just noticed that kid, and I was just wondering your thoughts on that.
Oh
Kid
man,
really said he definitely stood out as one of the better passes. I mean, as far as like Joe Milton, the guy Milton, he has the big, huge arm, but his like intermediate throws still lack a little bit of touch. That I think that he's ready to be a guy to step in right now and be a real factor for you.
yeah, but I don't want him on the
But he does
Giants.
have a huge arm, obviously. Yeah,
Like I want,
he does have the huge arm, the big bomb. He was kind of he was the highlight reel of that particular part of the workouts. Throwing the ball like 70 something yards in the air, but
here's here.
he's definitely a developmental project.
I want to go quickly back to the Devin Leary thing. If Daniel Jones had signed this contract this season, right, and Devin Leary was on the board, I would be taking Devin Leary in that scenario, right, where I'm like, all right, I need a backup quarterback. I need a guy who has some talent that could probably grow. That's where I would take Devin Leary. Right now, because we can get out of the contract of Daniel Jones, I want to take a first-round quarterback no later than a second-round prospect, right? Because I can see the Giants trying to do that. Getting Roma Dunze, bringing in fucking Russell Wilson, then drafting a Michael Pratt or somebody later on in the draft to try to try to patchwork it like that. And I'm just like, that's not the plan I want to go to. Don't get me wrong. I like Pratt. I like Spencer Rattler. Again, that's not where I want to go. Didn't mean to hijack your moment, Mac, but I'm all done and I'm good. Free agency, let's go. Monday.
Good.
Woo!
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm just waiting to see these moves that start to get made. These guys coming to
Monday
terms.
morning, man. It's gonna be like
They
Christmas.
can't put pen to paper. They put pen to paper on Monday, but they can start. They can start coming to some agreements. So
Handshakes.
we'll see what happens, man.
And I better hear
See
our
what
name.
happens, and
And can we just say like real fast too? Like I mean like let I know as Giants fans we get so passionate about our team and stuff like that, but you have to admit like Joe Shane got hired for a reason. Yeah, I'm talking to Adam earlier today. I think he is cultured. I think he is on social media more than Dave Gettleman was. I think he is hearing what these Giants fans are hearing. And if you look at his draft picks last year, you looked at his free agent moves last year. He tried, and I think he's going to be just as active this year. So shout out to Joe Shane. I know he's getting a lot of fucking shit from Giants fans and shit, but let the guy work, man, because he's proving us he's proven us pretty good so far. So let's trust in him and trust in these coaches that they'll know and they get paid. We all want to give our opinions as fans. We're all fanatic at times, but these guys are actually getting paid millions of dollars to work. So let's respect them and watch them work. Continue.
No, I'm all set.
I'm good to
I'm
go, man.
good
I think
too.
it's been 2 hours, man. We're nearing the 2 hour mark. It's been a great show. Appreciate everybody.
31 people.
Great audience and post show. We really appreciate that. Y'all tuning in, listening to the Horsemen talk that football talk. It's all about football, basically, this whole entire show. We definitely appreciate it. You all coming through. Make sure y'all take time out, go subscribe to my channel, Zion's channel, Adam's channel, the Hardcore Sports Network. Show some support, you know what I mean, and just doesn't cost a thing. Just hit that button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the thumbs up for the streams too, man. We're broadcasting live on my channel, on Zion's channel, on Adam's channel, on the Hardcore Sports Network, on the Hardcore Sports Network Facebook page, on my Facebook page. You can find us on X. You know what I mean? So
31 people. I love it.
And definitely appreciate the support and
Shout
appreciate
out
the
to you
love,
guys.
though, man. Fun show.
No Mets, all of you guys that tuned in.
Thank you in the chat. 31 people. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, Kevin Sullivan, coming through, man. Really definitely appreciate you, man. And no Mets, no Nets, no Jets. You know, you're definitely my guy, always holding down the chat, man. And tune in to myself and Costas on Wednesday, bringing back first off-season edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. This Wednesday on March the 13th, the first day of the agency. We're gonna be talking
special edition.
All that crazy. What's going on in the NFCs? The moves getting made. Everything cool. Man. Get y'all up to date, man. Been going on this past off season, man. And throw them fours before our guy NYG Jeffrey T, man. Our fallen angel, man. Always shining that light down ever so brightly on us, man. No doubt. And we are the full horse. We are the Horsemen. I'm the Giants fan. That's Zion Zenith. That's Adam Costas. We'll see y'all next Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.